Hello all, my name is Benjamin Falter and I'm the Director of Education at the Ontario County Historical Society. Today we are down in our Pioneer Kitchen where I'm going to show you how to make butter using an old-fashioned technique. People have been making butter using similar techniques for hundreds of years, and the basic principles are still used in modern butter making. The particular technique we're using today will be derived from this book from our archives. This is a reproduction of a 19th century kitchen guidebook. If you're going to be following along at home, you'll need the following ingredients. Heavy whipping cream, plenty of cold water, a large bowl or basin, a wooden spoon or spatula. Additionally, I would recommend some salt to work into your butter at a later stage, and I'll be sure to tell you when you would do that. Adding the salt gives your butter a little flavor. Finally, you're going to need something you can use as a butter churn. I will be using this reproduction of a 19th century dash churn. But if you're following along at home, you can just as easily make do with a jar, like a mason jar. Your first step will be to pour your whipping cream into your churn or jar. In the 19th century, you would have had to skim the cream off the top of the milk that you would have had to milk from your cow directly. But luckily, we can skip that step today. Now you're going to start agitating the cream. Using your jar at home, you just have to shake it. I'm going to move my dasher up and down like this to agitate the cream. You're going to keep agitating your cream until clumps start forming in it. Those clumps are the butter. This process is going to take some time, probably about 30 minutes. We'll check in when we get a little further along. After about 10 minutes, your cream is going to thicken up a lot. At this point, we have whipped cream. You're gonna have to keep going past this point to separate out the solid clumps of butter from the liquid elements. All right, it's been about half an hour, so our butter should be done. Let's open this up. Yeah, that looks nice. So as you can see, we've got a lot of liquid in there and we've got our solid clumps. So the solid clump in there is obviously our butter, and the liquid is what we call buttermilk. Now at this point, you're going to remove your butter from your churn into your bowl. You can just use your wooden spatula for that. I'm gonna use a spoon, make it a little easier for me. So yeah, we'll go ahead and move those out of the churn and into the bowl. All right. So now, as you can see, I've got quite a bit of butter in my bowl now. So at this point, I'm going to mold this all together into a clump. You can use your wooden spatula to do that if you want, but if you don't mind getting your hands dirty, I found that it's actually just easier to mold it into a single mound or clump with my hands. Unless you want to use your buttermilk for something, at this point you can just pour it down the drain. Now that our butter is molded into a nice mound, it's time to wash it. There's probably still some buttermilk in there, so we want to make sure to squeeze as much of it out as possible to keep the butter good longer. To wash your butter, you're going to take your cold water, pour it over your butter. It doesn't need to be completely submerged, but you want to fill up your large bowl a decent amount. And then you're just simply going to press down on the butter using your wooden spatula. This will push out some of the liquid trapped within. The liquid, as it comes out of your butter, will probably be pretty cloudy. You're gonna keep doing this a few times until you're satisfied you've pressed a decent amount of buttermilk out of your butter. At that point, you're gonna pour off this cloudy water and replace it with new clean water, and repeat the process. You're going to repeat this process several times until your water stops turning cloudy when you press down on your butter clump. Now it might be a little hard to tell, but my water is finally running pretty clear. So my butter is basically done at this point. I'll just dump off the rest of this water and show you the completed butter mound. And there you have it, we've made butter. I used about half of my container of heavy whipping cream, and I got a pretty decent amount of butter out of it. Now, there probably is still some moisture in the butter from the clean water. So at this point, this is when you want to salt the butter, work the salt in. That'll help draw the moisture out of the butter. And then you're going to go ahead and put your butter in the refrigerator to let it harden up. After you've let your butter harden up in the fridge for about half an hour, you can pull it out and press it to try to squeeze out any excess liquid. There we have it. We've got our butter all complete and ready to use. All that's left is to try it. Thank you for making butter with me today. I'd recommend you use your butter within about a week or so, just in case there's any buttermilk left in there that would potentially make it go bad. But this homemade butter is great on bread or toast or anything else you're going to use butter on. If you want to come visit the Ontario County Historical Society, we are located at 55 North Main Street in Canandaigua, New York. And if you enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to go to our website and donate so that we can continue doing educational programming. That's all from me, and I'm sure I will see you again in a future video.